Hello, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, dear attendees, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Mariana Pilaridou, and I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Goethe Institute Greece. We're here today with our second business-to-business event for designers and publishers and everyone who's interested for book design. This is one of my favorite topics, and I'm really glad you're joining this event today. Of course, you're very, very welcome next week to our physical events at the International Book Fair Thessaloniki. And I would like to introduce you my dear colleague, Nikki Theron from the Frankfurter Book Fair. Nikki, the stage is yours.
Yeah, hello everyone, and thank you, Mariana, and a warm welcome also from my side on behalf of Frankfurter Buchmesse and also on behalf of the Thessaloniki Book Fair. Our colleague cannot be here today, but is of course our official partner too. We are very glad to start our guest of honor appearance with a very exciting event on best book design, which is also one of my favorite topics this year. And of course, we would love to welcome you next week at the German Stories stand in Hall 13 at the Thessaloniki Book Fair, where you can discover a selection of Greek and German books with an excellent book design. So please join us at the stand, come and discuss with us all these topics. And now have a very inspiring event, and I hand over to our moderator, Demetrios Fakinos.
So, hello from me too. Hello from sunny Athens. It's nice to be here. Before I invite on stage our first presenter, who is going to be Lisa, I would like to say a couple of things regarding this whole event. It is being recorded, and after we finish, people will be able to access the whole event on the YouTube channels of the Frankfurt Book Fair, of the Thessaloniki Book Fair, and also on the YouTube channel of the Goethe Institute Thessaloniki. It is going to last roughly 90 minutes. And apart from the presentations, we would like to have a conversation with everyone. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send them to us through the Q&A field that you can find on Zoom. Yannis Karlopoulos was born in Thessaloniki. He studied at the Technological Institute of Athens in the Faculty of Graphic Arts and Design, from where he graduated in 1989. He received a postgraduate degree in calligraphy and type design from École Estienne in Paris in 1992. He designs mostly books, magazines, fonts, cultural events, programs, and websites. He has contributed to the Athens 2004 Olympic Games in the Department of Visual Identity. He has served as a design director in Vol, which used to be the publishers of the most prominent newspapers in Greece. And he stayed there from 2005 to 2013. Since 1996, he's a member of the Greek Digital Type Library. He's a founder and partner and creative director of the Greek photo agency Phos, creative consultant of LIFO, Athens' most popular free press magazine and website, and founder and creative director of Carlopoulos and Associates Design Agency. Sorry to bring you before the schedule, but you know, these things happen, and I apologize to the viewers, but I'm sure everyone is understanding.
Okay.
Right?
Lisa is okay. So I proceed.
Go on. The floor is yours, Yanni.
Okay. So I make a share screen. All right. Okay, and here we are. So a little bit, it's okay.
If you can make the presentation full screen.
Yeah. he denied to make resume share. I don't know why. Maybe something. Maybe it's again black.
No, we can see the first image.
Oh,
of the bookshelves.
Super. All right. So you see the image, huh?
Yes, but we're also seeing the what's around Adobe Acrobat. So if you press full page,
I pressed already.
Command L. Command
yeah,
L.
it's already done.
Okay.
No, it's already done. So wait a minute. Is it okay now? Like that? You see the images or not? You see the first image?
No, we're seeing you.
No, all right. Only me?
Screen.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, all right. You see this, okay?
Okay, you have started, right, yes, but still,
I don't know.
Just the image. Maybe we should go on as it is. We have to bear with, you know, the
okay,
around.
with the...
Let's go on as it is.
Okay, now it's okay for you? You see the image?
Yeah,
but when
enough.
I made the full screen, it's directly the green share screen becomes orange. So this is a problem. I don't know why, but now it's okay now? You see the images?
All right. Please go on as it is.
All right, okay, let's go on. Here is, of course, my presentation is a bit more anarchist. It means that it's not in a chronological, Virginia. So are you listening? Okay, is everything okay? All right. So it's not like a presentation of chronologically the creation. I started to create books, to design books, not to create books. It happened a little bit later to create books than design books. At 1987. So, and the most important for me is to put the books that which I designed together with other books I read. Okay, this is a test also for me because to design books is something that I started because I would like to read some books. Okay, of course, it's a challenge. And so this is my atelier of Karlopoulos Associates with some book series in the middle, with a book series of Russian Dostoevsky, Gogol, and so on for Vima newspaper as a supplement, for example, as an offer on Sunday edition. Okay, and some other projects. So here is for Athens Festival and Epidorus 2015. It's a kind of book and a box case for the book. It was printed on a paper, inverted, a paper for boxing, but with a fluo color. So it's some condition that I completely interrupted and changed it. Here is a book for a friend. And I made the publisher also. I designed the book is totally nude, let's say, because we can see the book binding, but not the cover. So the cover was a picture. It's a case, the same case, let's say, it's the same case of the previous one. But when we saw the spine, and it's very important that every book has to have a spine. Otherwise, for me, it's not a book. I mean, books are, the position of the books is, of course, the covers, but the position of the books is the library. So for me, it's very important to have the cover and the back cover. So the case was the picture without letters, but of course, there is the spine from the other side of the letters for the title of the book. There was of the other side of the spine. So you can see here a little bit το χωριό, it's the village. It's a village of island of Chios, created 2017. Here is inside was a text and pictures. Here is the very famous mastic of Chios. So, and this is some details about the book. So the first page is the part of the cover. Okay, so this is a technique how we use, for me it's very important, the book binding to open a book, completely open it in a full spread, for example. That's why sometimes I choose to put off the cover or the jacket. Of course, this is a little bit style, or someone could say, okay, it's a bit stylish, all these things. But here in Greece, at least, it started from my condition to have an open book, because it's through the new book binding machines, they are very tight for the books. These technical parameters also is very important, like the construction of, like the architecture. It means that the architecture of the book, it's the same thing as the architecture of a building. So the material you use and the techniques, the technical parameters, they are very important about the during the reading. During the reading is like during your life. When you are coming in a building, it's the same thing for me to be inside the book, to have the moments that you have to pass with the book. So it's like the time you pass in your living room. Okay, so that's why I'm saying about the architecture, the parallelized architecture in the book. Here, for example, it's completely another different edition. It's about, it is a jacket about the magazine, big magazine, but it's a book zine, a big format, but it's more like a book. It's about Beirut. So it's a jacket about, for a special jacket for a brand from Italy. And the back cover is the cover, goes in Arab world. We started from the back cover. So the non-Latin inscription, the Arabic script is Beirut. It is at the back side. So we have the calf, the spines, also it's completely different. Here is something, how I collect the ideas or the first material or the raw things to create some books. It means that this is manholes. So I made some with an artist, with a friend of mine. We made some imprints, let's say, and then I use it as material to make some books. Here I specialize also, and I like the sense of time. So I designed this for a timeless diary that you can use it again and again for several years. So at the same time, it's a souvenir from Athens. That's why the brand Forget Me Not, and you can find it in a very touristic area in the center of Plaka, and it means forget me not. So the uses of these prints from manholes, we use it as memories, like souvenirs from the city, across the city, as a graphic elements also. I'm interested because I'm a graphic designer, so I'm interested of the, normally for the graphic elements of a city, not historic things or so on. But, and here you can use Friday weekend every year, and reuse it maybe sometimes. I'm interested a lot for the reuse of some things, not the ones. Okay, here you can see, for example, some manholes, the prints from details from manholes that we collect from around Athens. Here is, for example, it's very recent. It's a catalog about European Design Awards, and the logo is the logo of is the asterisk, is the logo of the EDA. European Design Awards. So the cover is the half part of the back cover. It means when also I'm interested about this, the cover and the back cover, how it works together sometimes, okay? So the GSBF, it was the code that the publisher, Fakinos here, and the other publisher of design, graphic design, or in general design speaking magazines, about gold, silver, bronze, and finalist. So this, it was, for me, is an idea to keep and to make a design with this abbreviation of the producer of these European Design Awards. So the asterisk is the prize and prize is gold, the sign of the prize, and gold, silver, bronze finalist, it becomes a sign of European design, and you can see them inside as, I use them as categories of the prizes of the design. So we made four big parts of the book. For example, here you have something like a gift for expecting the barbarians from the Kavafis. It was a script of a Greek director, film director. It was an unrealized project. So we decided to make it a gift for Christmas from the film festival of Thessaloniki. And the last year. So it was a bilingual. Another issue sometimes in Greece is more often than other languages maybe, with that we have a lot of bilingual publications. And the typography is completely different and so on. But anyway, this is other issues. But here, for example, we have left page Greek, English, the right page for Greek texts. And here we have also, there's no spine also, but we have a jacket. And the first part of the first page is again the part of the cover. Okay. I say it again, all this started because some book bindings, I don't like them. I mean, it's very, you know, here is a book that, one of the first books with my typefaces when I came from Paris, 92, 97. From 92, these books are around to 1907. So it's about literature, poetry from Ionian Islands, Corfu, Kefalonia, Zante, and so on. And there's a little bit more like Italian influence. There was a big Italian influence, these islands. And this series of books, it was the name of Ionian Islands, the Ionian Islanders, let's say, Ionian Islanders. Behind the left book, you can see architecture in Greece from the first issue of 1967. It's very common that I born in 1967. It's very common that we search about things and elements during around our year of date of birth. It's something like, it's very human to find this. We don't know why, but okay, we can understand everyone why we search for our origin and what happened at that period when we were babies. Foscolo is the name of poet, and these books is out of print, of course. Anyway, but this typefaces is my first typeface to join with Greek and Latin letters together with serifs and no serifs, because it's a very special issue about the Greek letters and the this flair of script, and script look like even the typefaces, okay, is a different also problem. Here is, for example, is for a film festival of Thessaloniki, the National Film Festival, about sci-fi. Is a special tribute to films, to sci-fi and cli-fi of our days. Cli-fi is one of the biggest. And here we have a book binding, but we have a jacket. It's a book binding with flaps, and then we print both sides of the jacket, of the cover, sorry. For example, it's silver coated, and then we have a different color for the inner side. But with the cutout, you can see the second page, the second part of the paper. This is very important also. And the same book, no, it's not the same book, from the same organization, is about a person. It's a very important person. He died during COVID, Epidis. Of course, the emphasis is not very good, but you can look at Epidis. It's Greek English. He's organized and he was responsible for the documentary culture in Greece. So it's a book about his life, like a documentary book. And the material that it was a guy without a lot of archive or more to organize his files and so on. And it was very difficult because we were only passports and his book library. His badges from the film festival from all over the world, and some texts. So we reconstruct a book about what we can do with, and his name. Dimitris is first name and Epidis is the surname. So you can see how I will pass. So it's like a stops of a big travel trip about his life, and other people is like a memory of him. They wrote some texts. So we choose to have texts and all the archival material to reconstruct it, to put together with a little bit, 3-4 photos from his family and a little photos, some 2-3-4 photos from, but of course there is a note from Borges, for example, at his book and so on. So the readings of Epidis and the transport and the passport of Epidis was the first and the only material to create a book. SFO is San Francisco is like the airport abbreviations. So the cities that, and parts of the posters of the films and so on. So he made a reconstruction of his life of just a box. And it's very emotional because I didn't know him. But with this book, I can say that, okay, here he is the Epidis, Dimitris, okay? Here is another series of books about comic series, but comedian is a very, very famous script for books and films and television series, Tiforos. So it's a little bit mock about Greeks. It happened 2005 to 2007. A big series about 40 books. So it's with a calc and in a rough paper. The black and white was in a rough paper, and the color, one color at the time, because each week we have one copy of this series. It was very commercial. So it's during 50s and 60s. And then we redesigned with a new design, with a new illustrator, figures that is like honor to black and white comic strip. Here's another book series from 2004, no, 2007, sorry, a small book, noir, and he's very famous, like Raymond Chandler of Greece. And the whole pictures they are from the archive. It's not from Shutterstock, or they are from the archive of the newspaper, or parts of them. And there is the place that there is a relation between the title and the image or the place that they have to. We have the scenario about the story, about the black and white picture. So I try to make a connection between the story and the image from the report, not from the files of the newspaper. And of course, I used typewriter font. It's very small also. It's like a pocket size, let's say. And here is again the first size, the first page. For me, I don't like to have an of course we are Orthodox, but sometimes I have an unorthodox way to go inside the book. So I prefer normally the first page is white, it's a blank page. I think it's a waste of paper. So I put the CV, the biography of this very important Greek writer of noir series, and it's identical. So all these books and all these first pages and the inner pages, they have the same document, but different color. Okay, so the color is the same as I use it for the cover. And here we have this a stack of books, for example, to create a big series. The big problem is how you can design a series of the book, the mechanism of the production, to understand what is from the same series, the same publisher, and the same author, and the same style, and together put a lot of series together. Oh, sorry. Okay, here we are. For example, after maybe the same year or the same month, we had another series of the books about Greek literature of the last centuries. So and very cheap. The whole production was made in Germany, Italy, and Turkey. Of course, in Greece, it's not. We have there's no industry to support book bindings with so quick and so many copies with hard copies. With hard binding. Okay, paper, because otherwise, okay, for the paperback, it's okay. It's easy. But these kind of books is very difficult to find in Greece, so we sent to Germany. So here is another part from our atelier. You can see 3 books that there is a difference between them 10 years almost. Some numbers. Another preference is another preference. No, I prefer to have no letters, no titles on the cover. Of course, this is not it's not so commercial. But okay, when I have the possibility and the option to do this for my books, for example, or the books that I create with the author. So we have letters, numbers, sorry, in the middle with a PAL cyan, and another book there for public classic with for public, a big store, okay? And here Lovecraft is another book series for Lovecraft. It was the promo booklet, okay? In the middle, you can see some shoes, the shoes typically Greek Converse All-Star. And it was during my age when I was 5 years old. We put the school this kind of blue and these sneakers, let's say. So the book, when in the middle, we have the cyan jacket, and we have this book, the same, the author from Chios. So we have a portrait, we have an image, full page, a full bleed image, and then only white page for the text. It means that we can change it for English, in Greek, and we can change only the black. So I have two books with one print. It means we have two ISBNs, one for the Greek, one for the English version. And it happened that if we change only the black, so we design only the black plate, it means that we design without have letters on images, or to have only with a white background. So you can make easily, so you need some tricks, I mean, here is about 200 years and 200 from the Greek Revolution and 200 buildings. It's about architecture and historical buildings of Athens. Okay, so we have the 200, the number 200 on the cover, and then you have some letters, Athens, alpha in the middle, delta for diakosia for 200, and chi and kappa for chronia and ktiria at the back cover. Is a catalog with a box case for the revolution also, 200 years, because is the year of the celebration of bicentenary from the revolution. It's typical, it's very important pictures. So it's a catalog. The name is non-catalog from a film festival. This is for the documentary also, the new one for the documentary. And this is the first pictures of documentation, the battles of the revolution. Okay. And here is a book about a painter, Adamakos, with like a Greek German Richter, a big tableau paintings with not specific figures, and so it's abstract, okay, and more dark, let's say, with a little bit of text together, English and Greek together. So I made some, you know, a contradiction. You have a big pictures of, you have big paintings, but the book, I keep some details to see in the proportion one by one, the part of the painting. So the part of the page is the part of the painting sometimes. That's why it's not the details. Is for example, the picture was, the painting was, for example, 2 meters high to 140. So I keep a part of the painting as the part of the page. And here is a diary also that you can write for 10 years. It's my publication. It's a black and green letters. You can write for all these years from 2020 to 2029. So you can see, you have the date, and you can see the date, March 3, for example, here, and you can understand March 3 on 2021 is Wednesday, for example, or 2028 will be Friday. So you can use it again and again, or you can use it all the years with like a palimpsesto. write and write again, like the ancient scripts that you write and you write again and again. And you can write with different paper, pencils for each year. And then you have, of course, many years or all the years about what was your life. So this is is about Greece, but the title is Texas. It was made with a photographer, Zublekas, and picture editor. Is more an artist, let's say, not exactly a photographer. And it's about the crisis from 2015 to still going on, I don't know. Crisis started in Greece. I think we're okay.
Okay, Yannis, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. I always enjoy your work, and I think our viewers did so as well. We have to mention, and this might sound like a shameful promotion, but Yannis is the designer of the Greek Design Awards catalogs, and he's actually working right now on the latest edition. He has, amassed a bunch of awards in Greece and internationally about his book design. And I would like to remind you that we have a Q&A section where you can type your questions, either directed to any of the speakers, either generally, and we'll discuss them at the end with both. So make sure if you write a question that is directed to a specific person to write who you're talking to. If not, we will assume it's a question directed to both of them and it will be asked at the end of the session. Yannis, might I ask, like I said, I always enjoy your work, but I also enjoy your opinions, listening to your opinions. So I would like to discuss with you the issue of education, specifically on book design in Greece. Supposedly a person, a young designer wants to follow this path. They want to design books. What outlets do they have to do so? How do they learn to design books in Greece?
Yeah, it's a big issue. Of course, practically there is no education, there is no studies about book design. Okay, I mean, a little bit more advanced, let's say. But for me, I am from Technological Institute it's a kind of university between technical university and school, post-school teaching about the graphic design. But of course, we had we have a section about book design, but it's an optional. It was an optional, okay. After that, practically there is no studies about book design. Of course, and it's very important in Greece that we have to self-educate if we like to design books. Of course, the first priority is, if you like to design books, is to read the books and to make observations from the books that you like to read. This is the key. I mean, for me, it's like you have to start from somewhere. The books that I like to read, of course, the publishers made by your own knowledge about the books, and the typophilic, let's say, knowledge is the result of reading and observation, and the typographers and the technicians that, let's say, masters of the letterpress and monotype, that they create their books in like their instinct. It was very strange, but in Greece is something like that. It's very idiosyncratic to create books. Of course, now a lot of designers a lot of graphic designers, they start to design books, but only for the covers. They started to create covers or to make the layout of a book, the layout of the corp of the book. And this is the text. This is the layout of the text of the book, because the book is in literature. It's very, let's say, it's more easy to create a book, not even a series of the book, because you have only the cover and the text and the body text. Okay, this is not a complicated work. About studies is, for me, this is the most important. First of all, to read, and to try to understand, to make observation and to understand the content, and then to make some structure about the book, and to see a lot of things about what other designers do.
Okay, last question before we go to Lisa, and then after Lisa does her presentation, we will have you again on stage together with that. But last question regarding the Greek book design scene. Lisa, who will follow, comes from a country which has a huge tradition in book design. I mean, it's the country where basically books were born, right? Thanks to Gutenberg. But how is the situation in Greece? What would you say are the specific characteristics of this field in Greece?
Yeah, nice and difficult question. Look, my opinion. Okay, of course, when I'm talking about my perspective and my opinion. I think we have something. I become a book designer and specialized on publications because of the Greek first books in my primary school. And this is astonishing that the first book that I saw in my life, because it was very rare to have books, and during early 70s, it was from an illustrated book for primary school, sorry, and was it was the book from 49, awarded in Leipzig book fair as the best book design. It was a Greek book design, a Greek book for primary schools. After that, I understand that the book and the illustrations and in general speaking, the book is a new world. And for me, it was very important to follow how I can create this. I don't know that a graphic designer could make this, the font, the illustrations, and the item on a paper, folded paper. It was this tradition, let's say. Now, for me, it's not so clear, the tradition of the Greek, what is Greek, let's say Greekness, let's say. But for me, it exists. It has is something. It's like literature. What is the Greek style of literature? It's something. First of all, poetic. We have only 2 novels, and we have them on poetry, not even for romance, because the form is small. You have novelists. We have poets. And we have the biggest production per person on the world of poetic collections. Okay, maybe that's why you have two novels only on poetry. So for me, it's something that I cannot say is something not abstract, but elliptical, not so precise, more poetic. More poetic means some less thing. And of course, for me, the other thing is poetic, let's say cheap, not cheap, not expensive, because cheap sounds something, somehow. Not expensive, small format, not big, volumes, not big volumes, and emotional. I don't know, because it sounds, the emotional sounds like melodramatic,
No,
but
I'm
not
sure,
at all.
I'm sure we get what you're saying.
The poetry is not melodramatic; is completely different.
Sensitive.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Yanni.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you at the end of the session together with Lisa. But first, allow me to take it to Lisa right now. And please allow me to reintroduce her. I'm gonna read again her bio. Remember that there is a button where you can pose questions directly to Lisa, directly to Yannis, or to both, okay? And here goes. Lisa Neuhalfen.
Let's try again.
Let's do it again. Was born in Bonn. She studied book design in Mainz with H.P. Wilberg and graduated there in 1988. For a volunteer service, she moved to Berlin. And from 1990 until 1991, she worked as a book designer in a small, newly founded publishing house. Since 1991, she's running a design studio in Berlin. She works for publishing houses as well as for foundations and companies. Since 2010, she has given various lectures in book design and typography, among others at Universität Bonn, Universität Bochum. She is a member of the working group Typografie in the Wissenvermittlung. Lisa, please take it again.
Okay, so the technician will change the pictures. I would ask him to do that, please, and show the first picture. Okay. So yes, I start with my first book, and as I already said, that my first book was in 1991, and we did in a small publishing house. Please, next picture. Next picture, please. Okay. And it's one of a series of books, and we did 5 books in 1 year. And this was the very, very first of it, and therefore it's a little bit important for me. Next picture, please. What I want to show with that example is that for me, it was always important to make a connection between the outside of the book, the cover, and the inside. And as already Yannis said, some designers, they just do the covers, and some designers, they do just the inside. And it's the same in Germany. It's not that often that you do the whole book. And in this case, I did. And next page, next picture, please. Next. You see that the little figures from the outside I used for the inside. It is a book about the story of 2 people, servant and his master. And they try to organize a little flat. It's like a chamber play. And next picture, please. And I try to visualize that with the little figures. So in the beginning of each chapter, we have 4 chapters. And this is the 3rd chapter. You see these little figures running around. It's just to make something interesting when you enter the book and when you enter the story with that. Next picture, please. This is another example from 8 years later. It's also a novel. And normally you think probably a novel is not something you really design. It's just the text. And sometimes it's really a little bit difficult to explain people what I really like to do. And I like to do novels because it's a challenge to make an interesting entrance in a book. This was work for Alexander Fest Verlag, and for this publishing house, I worked 5 years, but I did only the inside. I never did the cover. So the cover is the little one in the left corner, and it was done by a graphic design agency from Berlin, Ott & Stein.
But with each book, I tried to use an element or an aspect from the cover to the inside. And for this book, we had this nice fish which lives deep in the sea. And it's the book are stories. It's not a novel. It's stories, and the stories are parted in three parts. And next page, please. Next. You see that the fish starts with the title, and now we have the content. The fish passes by. Next page, please. And then you see this is the first chapter, and the fish escapes. Next, please. And then enter again into it's swimming around the corner, like to enter in the first story. Next picture, please. And then this is the second part, and you have two fishes. And next page, next. And you see it enters because it's swimming through the book. Next, please. And this is the third chapter, and you see there are three fishes. And the next page, then you see one get lost and two are entering the story. Next page. So sometimes I like to make also this little things you find when you look at things, and then you have this idea to do something like a little game. It's not too much in the foreground, because the most important thing of a book is always the text, but it makes it more interesting. This is a book from 2007. It was, it's Robert Olmsted, Der Glanzrappen. It was one of the books I did for Die andere Bibliothek. They made a pitch in 2007, and I won that together with a colleague. And for 1 year, we did the complete design for 12 books. And this one is about a little boy who is sent by his mother to the Civil War in America in the 19th century to search his father. It's a coming of age story of this little boy, and just in the beginning he gets presented a coal black horse. This is also the English title, American title of the book, Coal Black Horse, and a very, very black horse. And for that we choose for the book binding, we choose a material like it's a velour. With if you touch it, it's like a fur. There's the stamping on it to make it feelable. To make the horse a little bit feelable. And next page, please. The story is told a little bit like a Western, or it reminded me to a Western, because there are those descriptions of the beautiful landscape and this boy riding with this horse into this landscape. So I used those lines to enter the chapters. Next page, please. And I moved them a little bit to give the impression it's like a visualization of landscape. And next page, please. And every chapter starts with that. Next page, please. This is a book from 2013, also a novel. I try to stay in this to make it a little bit not that chaotic, because we German are a little bit like structure. This was a funny story because I was invited by the publishing house to Hamburg, it's Rowohlt in Hamburg, and to get known to the illustrator of the front page picture of this illustration with the mother with the daughter. And to talk about how to make the design of the book. And the funny thing was that after when we talked, the illustrator and me, we both had the idea of making this book some kind of a stone, some glimmer material, and we both choose the same paper from the same company, which happens really, we didn't talk about that, we just understood while we were telephoning that we had the same paper in mind. And we proposed that to the publishing house, but they didn't want to spend that money for the paper because it was a little more expensive. So we tried to reconstruct that, to do the same by printing a golden structure on a dark blue paper, blue-green paper. It's not that visible, but a little bit you can see that there is a little glimmer on the book. And then we had a colored edge. We had this stamp with a metallic material. We try to make the book a little bit an object. It's a story about the Mars. It's a little bit a science fiction, like it reminds me to Stanislav Lem, this type of science fiction, very literal and very, very good written. And there are two populations. One is on the Mars, and they live there. They left the Earth a lot of years ago, and they are living there, and they have a material which is called mok. And with that material, they do nearly everything. They had books before, but only a few left, and no one is able, or only a few people are able to read those books. And there's the other story on the Earth, the story of this mother and the little daughter. And in the story, they travel also to Mars, and they travel back to Earth, and there's a connection between that. So next page, please. And to get into this book, it's also the idea of making the entrance from outside to inside. I choose this round title, and you can see a little bit the content through the page. Next page, please. Next. Then you see the 4 chapters. Normally you don't do, for a novel, you don't do a content, but in this case, I could convince the publishing house to do it because it's such a nice play with round figures. Next page, please. And then the chapters start with an orange page. Next page, please. And you turn into the book with these titles which go round. Next page, please. And they move. This is the 4th, and the other one was the 1st, and this is the 4th. And in the end, it will end up on the right side. Next page, please. And this is the fourth chapter. There was also another funny story with that book, because later when the book was introduced to the readers and there was a presentation in Berlin, I met the very nice author, and he told me, "Oh yes, I'm so happy about the book. It's so nice, so well done." And but there was a funny thing. I didn't really understand why you choose orange, because it's a book about Mars, and we say in Germany, we say Mars is the red planet, and so it would have been much nearer to choose red as a color. And I'm not sure, but I think it was because before there was a Mars mission and there was pictures in television, and I think they were mostly some kind of orange, and that was the reason why I chose orange. And he said, "Okay, I saw your proposal, your draft, and I liked it so much I changed the color in the book, because in the book in the beginning it was red, it wasn't orange at all." So it was really nice, and it was the first and hopefully the last time I was able to change the content of a book by design. Next page, please. So this is something, part of a work we do together, me and a colleague, for a Berlin publishing house belonging to Kiepenheuer & Witsch, which is one of the big players. And we do for them, we don't do the layout of the books. We just do the covers, which is sometimes a little bit sad, because when you do a cover, you always have an idea of what the inside should look like. And it's not always the same how it comes out in the end. This was a series of books of Daniel Harms. It's a new translation. And luckily we found this illustrations done by Daniel Harms, and we used them for the 4 books and just did just a title on it, and that's it. Next page, please. This is also a series of books of Lawrence Stern, also a new tradition. And we choose, because a marble paper has a role in his writings, especially in Tristram Shandy, we choose marble paper for the book binding. In this case, I found something in the internet, a nice paper from an Italian firm, and we did it. And then normally you do the draft, and then the catalog is printed, and then for the production you need the paper, and we tried to order them, but the company didn't exist anymore, so it was a little bit complicated to become nearly the same type of this handmade marble paper from an artist, and to solve the problem. Next page, please. So, and for the books we choose half covers. So we already saw with Yannis to make the cover not covering the whole book, and to make the material of the book binding visible is nice. So next page. This is a series of crimes in a little bit retro style. We had a design a bit similar like that in the 60s in Germany for the old Edgar Wallace crime stories, and this is a reference to that. Next page. It's all the same publishing house, all Galliani. Those are single covers for single books, novels, and not science, but fiction and non-fiction. Next picture. Next picture. Also that, you see, it's not a series, it's all different, but we try to have an interesting paper for an interesting author. Like, for example, on the left side, you see Karin Duwe. And this is a story about Annette von Droste-Hülshoff, a German writer from the beginning of the 19th century. And she did those type of, I don't know the English word for it, but the illustrations you cut out on black paper. And luckily we found this original from her, from Annette von Droste-Hülshoff, which was really, it happened. Sometimes things happen luckily, and you are really happy about. Next page. So this is something I do since 2015. The 3 books on the left side is the design, it's a journal, it's a sociological journal, which comes out in Hamburg. It's for a Hamburg institute, sociological institute. And the three on the left side, you see on the left side, are the old design. It's really severe, really clean, really, you see it's heavy science what you're reading. And the question was to make it a little more modern, to make it a little more colorful, to do a redesign. And on the right hand, you see one of the first journals I did redesigned. Next page. Next page, please. Here you see a wide range of covers. In this case, I do the cover and the inside design. So I do the whole product, what I really love to do. And you see there is a system for the covers. It's always a colored space and a white space. And we have this double features, which are vice versa, like the second and the first row, or the last and the first row. When it's a double feature, then it's vice versa. The colored space becomes white and the white space becomes a picture or colored or a photograph or an illustration or whatever. And in between the system, I allowed myself to do things like overlapping pictures, like you see in the second row, or pictures which they dilute, like the last on the second row. You see that the pixels are going out of the picture. Next page. And this is just an example for the how it's done inside. On the left side, you see the cover, and on the right side, you see the inside cover, which is the content always. And you see that I try to connect the outside with the inside. Next page. This is a typical double side from inside. It's mostly text, but sometimes we have the possibility to enhance the theme with a picture, with a row of pictures which give a new aspect to the theme. Next page, please. This, for example, was in this journal. It was a story about. It was about violence, the sociology of violence, and we thought maybe not make a picture story about violence because it's too brutal. So we choose to make texts like a picture and to have quotations from films which are about violence, and we use that for the picture story. Next page. And this is another example with you. But sometimes we have also two quotations together which do something with each other. Next page. And this was a journal about from this row about the sociology of money, and it was a double feature, so we have this vice versa, and we choose the patterns of I'm a little bit crazy about patterns, and we choose the patterns of money to illustrate the cover. Next page, please. And we choose the same also for this. Is funny because we did our own money. It was really fun to do the money. So it's a design of money. It's a fake money. Next page. And we use the patterns also for the picture row. This is a lady from the 20s when the money lost worth, and so they did dresses. They made dresses out of money because you couldn't buy anything with it. And you see the same structure from the outside, or a little bit different. Also, we used inside. Next page. And this is just another example. I think that's it. Next page. Yes, I'm finished. I try to be really short. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. That was beautiful work. Thank you so much. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Before I invite Yannis online as well, I would like to, just for the comparison, to make the same questions to you. Mm-hmm. What is the road that the book designer goes down in Germany? If a young designer would like to deal with this field, what do they usually follow?
You mean which university, which study they choose?
Are there?
Yeah.
Yes. Are there studies specifically for book design in Germany?
I think nowadays it's much different from how it was when I studied. When I studied, it was in the 80s, and typography wasn't the hottest shit. And it's now we all know it's completely different because of a lot of reasons. And so for me, it happens by it just happened. I went to this university to Mainz, and I realized in the basic studies of the first 2 years that there is a possibility to study also typography for books. And it wasn't that common. I think there were 2 or 3 schools. And nowadays I think it's different. I'm not teaching at design schools, but I know there are some schools which offer a way into book design, which is different. So it depends really on the person who is teaching. And I think nowadays students choose the person who are teaching. Normally they're on the book fair, for example, the universities show what they do and show what they do in the studies, and you can go there and inform you. And that's different, much different. I think there is a possibility to. It's in between graphic design. That's the same. The basic is always graphic design.
And as I mentioned before, Germany is the country where actually book was born in the form that we know it nowadays.
But the reproduction of books was born.
Exactly. Exactly. So also, the design of the mass produced books, right? So do you feel that this tradition is presented somehow in what is called the German design school? Do you believe that there are certain common characteristics in German book design, or how does it go?
I think first of all, I started with H.P. Wilberg, who wrote 2 books about one important book about book design. He wrote a lot of books, and one important book about book design, which is now commonly, I think, in every publishing house. I think every production department in the publishing house, they do have that book. And for the mass production, I think it's really helpful. But yeah, it's you don't learn mass production when you study book design. When you study book design, you get known to books, and you learn what is possible to do, and you learn to touch the frontiers, what you can, and how to go over the normal rules, to break also rules. And if you're working in the publishing house, you just have to produce books. But even those people, sometimes they are really well educated, and there are also type design or book designers like me with the same studies, and they work in publishing houses. So I think the quality of books changed. But you can say that in common, but in the detail you have to see, and in the detail there are obviously also some problems of mass production, always, of bad binding, you can't open them, or the typesetting isn't that good. And for all that reasons, you can see also problems if you want. But in the big thing, and you have also this award like Stiftung Buchkunst. But also that changed, and now it became also some kind of marketing instrument, because now it's 5 times 5 nice books, but sometimes it's difficult to find just 5 novels well done. Probably it's only 3, and but you have to find 5. So with the number, it's more marketing, but difficult to. I think it's not anymore this high quality of the award as it has been.
Please let me get Yannis on stage as well, because I would like to have a look together with the 2 of you at a couple of questions that we already have. Can we have Yannis on screen as well?
He left.
No, he's here, don't worry.
No, I'm here.
There you are. So first, I would like to again remind you, still have time to pose questions at the Q&A section. Usually it's down to the right, the Q&A button. Funnily enough, Yannis, do you have your, can you turn your
Yeah,
camera on?
it's not my, it's from the host. They stopped the video from the host.
Okay. So here's funnily enough, we have 3 questions regarding the new technology of books. 3 questions touch the subject of e-publishing. For example, Michalis Katamaras is asking how a book designer can contribute today to designing ebooks or books for the web. What are the best practices for print book design that can be applied to ebooks or web design? Kostas says, should we keep in mind to design in print, but also for ebooks? And then Michalis is asking, especially for book covers, how this wealth of design language can be accommodated in the limited space available for ebook covers. How the approach to an ebook cover design would be different. You can see there is a lot of interest in the new technology. We're forgetting a little bit about the paper, but you know, is it similar?
Lisa.
I think I don't know really. When we do book covers, they use them, I think, also for the ebook, and yeah, we are even not informed. And the inside design of ebooks is completely different. I mean, it's not. We had a short period of enhanced ebooks in Germany, but I think they're dead. And people who read ebooks, they have this contract that they read on a computer, and they can choose even Comic Sans if they want to read a novel in Comic Sans. So you have no influence on that. You just have influence on the cover, and that's a decision, I think, from the publishing house.
First, yeah, a lot of interesting about ebooks. Book, if we talk about books, we talk about prints.
True.
But okay, when we talk about the devices, electronic devices, and the reading of the devices, and finally there is a research that even in the United States, that not even the 5%, not even the 10, up to 7.5% could read novels and other books in an e-book format, let's say. Of course, I like the email word and I like the e-book word. Okay, no problem with this, because you have the email, you have the e and the hyphen and something, whatever. But for educational also, because I'm expertise also for the designing of the book, for educational books, okay, for international curriculum. And the research, one of the results of the research was that from even the kids, and an adult, it's not very easy to memorize the content if you read from a device, electronic device, smartphone, Kindle, whatever. And it's something that, of course, I do not agree, like as a designer, of course, is that every user can have a lot of options to make parameters and to change the text. For example, Comic Sans or whatever, to have options. Because I would like to say, not for me as a creator, because I'm not the creator of the content. I'm not the writer. I'm not the author. I'm the designer. So you can imagine if someone could change the type of a novel, the type, the body face, the text, the typeface. Can you imagine the author that okay, his text, his child, his creation is completely make like in the hands of someone like a monster. Because for me, the design, even if you like the books, is the the ground zero of the civilization, because we are not an oral civilization, the Westerns and the Easterns, but we say with like Aztecs or Mayas or Incas or Aborigines, they are, or Apaches. Of course, is a big issue about colonization, but they were oral civilizations. There is no scripts. I don't know if a PhD or research about what happened with these civilizations, that their common characteristic, like they have no scripts, or Roma or Gypsies, for example, they are oral civilizations, and how this maybe has a special gravity about what happened from us, let's say us in the past, okay, the Westerns, let's say, or Chinese, that doesn't matter. They that they have a script civilization. For me, it's very important that when you want to memorize something, you have to see it scripted. And then we have to see scripted, it means to have printed in a way. Of course, German is this is very important, the origin of the reproduction of the book. Because until that period of the media 50 of Gutenberg was handwriting. Okay, there was a book, but it was handwriting. So for me, it's very important, the medium. So the ebook, it's completely different medium. So it's very difficult. Of course, you can read, but can you read and understand what you read? Can you join the content of what you read, of the text? And this is very important. This is the effect of the reading. It's not just to read. Okay, a lot of people, 89, 98% in the Western of the world, they can read. Of course, a kind of marketing also. So for the parameters of the book design now, I have a small experience. I can't say if I can answer to this question, because it's my problematic also. But 10 years ago, for the uprising of the tablets and Kindles, and they said, okay, we'll transform to the ebooks and so on. It was completely, was like, it's a little bit mess and awful and ugly, very ugly, actually. And what they said, the PDF, guys, is not the ebook. And especially with the crop marks, I saw Greek publishers to put as ebooks their final PDFs with a crop mark. Of course, first of all, on an ebook, we don't have left and right pages. We don't have spreads. We don't have white pages on the start. We don't have back cover and so on. It means that you have to redesign the body text. You have no limitation about the pages. You can make a book of about 1,000 pages. Is because you can read it not with to make in the text to open it, but you have symmetrical pages. And it was a very big. And I said, okay, we have the same document like InDesign document. This it happens on the Vima newspaper, the biggest newspaper in Greece at that time. And I said, okay, guys, we have the text, we have the book, but we have the InDesign. So we make it retransform for the enhanced PDF, at least not with crop marks. First of all, we need a corpus, a body text of 12 points. Okay, but for reading in a screen, you need at least 16 points, like websites. 12 and
if you allow me. Yeah, this is so interesting, and actually we're getting so many questions right now, both on the Q&A and the chat. I can see people are finding this very interesting, but I have to apologize to them that we will not answer their questions right now immediately, because we're running out of time. So I would, before I wrap up, I would like to ask both of you to maybe give us a short last comment on the topic of our discussion, and then we'll take it from there. So Lisa, first.
Yes, I mean, like I tried to say with my presentation, I think it's the best book design is done when it's done from one person, the whole product. I mean, it's a good chance for a publishing house to have a book designer who does the cover and the inside design, which became more rare, but sometimes you have the small publishing house, they do sometimes like that. And especially for those special books, which are really well done, and new translations and some kind of bibliophilic books, then it's a good chance. And I think nowadays there are a lot of people who are doing really good book design, and you should, or publishing houses should ask them more. And for the book designers, they should try to tell the publishing houses how good they are, and to convince them to do the whole thing and not just the cover, because the cover is always, there's a tradition why covers are different from done by a different person. And and in former times there were artists who did that. But anyway, I think it's better to do the whole thing, and it's sometimes it's a guarantee for a nice result.
Janis, one last comment.
Reading is a luxury, but
wow. Very short, very precise.
Yeah. Look, we have a lot of work to do, and I have a stack of the books I would like to read, and the books that I created, first of all, because I would like to check what I design. And it's always from one book, from one content, I will go to another, to another, to another. I jump from here to another. It's like it's a la folie. But of course, it's a luxury. I mean, not to read, because you read a lot of texts, generally speaking, but the book is not for me. What I can see behind this explosion of the production of the books, because more and more, we have more and more and more books. We have more section for the books from newspapers, magazines, and so on. We have bookstores. We have small small bookstores, small publishers, and so on. You have a plethora of books. We have no time to read. And finally, when we read something, or we understand something and we would like to share it, we are not agree about the content. So what is the design, of course, of this? I think that the design of the book is a trial to unify, to make a peace between the texts and this is for me the word, to make between the text and the content and the reader. So the good design, no matter if it's printed or ebook, if you like it, of course, is to try to find the real link between the text and the content of the text, the spirit of the text, and the image of these. And this is more difficult, and to address, to ask, to question in a question about, is it only the observation, the reading is enough to do with and with the studies to be a good graphic designer or a book designer? Because we have to say that we talk about the book design, but we would like to say that we talk about the good book design. Because book design, there is a lot of book design. You know, it's enormous, the book design. There is a book design. Is it okay? So, of course, you need to read. Of course, you need to make observation. Of course, you need to make studies. And of course, we need time to read. But it's very important that book never die. This is for me, because even if it was
Lenny,
like
I believe
photography.
we're all optimistic. We're a bit optimistic about it. I think this is what came out from this discussion. We're optimistic the books will not die. I have to say, you know, that on the one hand, I love the fact that this discussion has been so intense. And, you know, I would like also to apologize to personally to Kyriaki and Sylvia and Vanna and all the people that post questions that we do not have the time, unfortunately, to reply to. But there's, you know, I would like to invite you all to the book fair in Thessaloniki from the 25th to the 28th of November. There's going to be a lot of events surrounding books and specifically for book design. I would like to mention, you know, that you should visit the Goethe Institute booth at the booth, I believe, is it 18, is it? 13, booth 13 of Helexpo. And also on Friday, the 26th, there's going to be another event on book design, which is going to be held at the MOMUS, the Museum of Modern Art in Thessaloniki. And there we're going to have another excellent book designer, again from Germany, Judith Shalansky is going to be present there to talk, and there are going to be some really interesting announcements.
She's an author.
As well as a designer. And she's also an asteroid. I don't know if you know that, Yannis. An asteroid has been named after her. So she's a lot of things. And so that is going to take place in Thessaloniki, where in this Thessaloniki Book Fair, Germany is the guest of honor. So this is why we're having these events with Goethe Institute and the Frankfurter Buchmesse. You can find lots of information about this and lots of really interesting links on the chat box. And to remind you also that all this discussion will be soon available on the various YouTube channels of the Frankfurter Buchmesse, the Goethe Institute, and the Thessaloniki Book Fair YouTube channels. So join us next week in Thessaloniki, and there we can discuss more. We're going to have more time to talk about all your really, really interesting questions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with us, and hope to see you soon in Thessaloniki.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.